everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm here today to share with you my November TBR. I am going to be participating in Nonfiction November, which is a readathon run by Olive from a book Olive, and I will link her information down below. This is a readathon that encourages people to read nonfiction. It's very, very popular all over Booktube, and I always participate because I am a fairly large nonfiction reader. And I will also be participating in the readathon Skoden, which is put on by Kim from Native Lady Book Warrior, and I will link that down below as well. And I'm going to start with that read today. So I'm going to be listening to Jonny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead. This is a indigenous queer novel by Joshua Whitehead, and he lives here in Canada. This book is about our main character is a cybersex worker, and he takes us on an adventure with him for 7 days before he goes back to his home reservation to attend the funeral of his stepfather. So I've heard a lot about this one. This one won the Canada Reads competition for, I believe, 2022. This current year, so I'm excited to listen to that, and it is narrated by the author himself. The other fiction book I'm going to be reading this month is Self-Portrait with Boy by Rachel Lyon. This is for the Thrive Together Network book club that I host, and this is a book about an artist who is a photographer working in her studio one day when she sets the camera to take a photograph of herself, and there is a flash behind her. And what it turns out is that the flash behind her was a little boy who had accidentally fallen out of a window above her. And so what ensues is a moral dilemma: to use this art or to not use this art, to all the kind of ethical questions that go along with a situation such as that. So that's what this one's about. I've been waiting to read this for a really long time, so very curious how this will go. And then the rest of my reading for November will be nonfiction. So I'm finishing up my 5-star predictions list for memoir with H is for Hawk by Helen MacDonald. This is a very, very popular and famous memoir on Booktube and everywhere. It was the Samuel Johnson Prize winner for nonfiction in 2014. So it's a 9-year-old book. But I'm really excited to read this. This covers Helen's journey going to become a falconer while dealing with the death of her father. So I know this is one of Olive's favorite books. I believe this is her favorite memoir, perhaps. So I'm excited to finally get to this one. And to wrap up my 5-star predictions, which I will be making a video for that in December, talking about my thoughts on the 5 books that I chose for my 5-star predictions this year. And then the other 3 books that I have on my TBR are all related to my Rivers TBR, and I can link that down below. So this is reading that I've been doing to support an art piece that I'm currently creating around the theme of rivers. And these aren't the last books that I'm going to read about rivers, because I've found so many since I started searching. But I do want to kind of wrap up the books that I had chosen for that specific TBR that would support the making of this piece, because the piece is getting quite far along now. It is, I would say I'm probably going to be able to finish it early 2023. And so I just want to get these books wrapped up. And some of these, like this one, for example, I'm probably not going to read cover to cover. So this is called Simon Fraser in Search of Modern British Columbia by Stephen Hume. So Simon Fraser was the colonial person that colonized a lot of British Columbia. And he was the first person, okay, obviously he was not the first person to go along the whole Fraser River, but the river was named after him. Let's put it that way. And so I think this book chronicles the author's journey, like going along the river, meeting the indigenous peoples that live along it, and kind of retracing this journey that Simon Fraser took. And the reason I'm interested in this is because I want to learn more history about the Fraser River specifically, but also kind of understand the colonial undertones of the river and the story of the river, and Simon Fraser's own relationship with the indigenous people he was encountering. And he's such a huge figure in British Columbia. He's one of the main names of everything that exists here. There's a university that's just up the hill from me named after him. So he's a very pervasive name in our province. And so I'm going to read through parts of this and kind of get some more history under my belt for that. And then I'm also going to be looking at The Savage River by Marjorie Campbell. And this book chronicles more of the journey that Simon Fraser took specifically. So it's not really integrating any other perspectives, I don't believe. I think it's more a historical perspective about that time, those specific days where Simon Fraser was traversing the river. And then, lastly, I'll be reading Rivers of Power, How a Natural Force Raised Kingdoms, Destroyed Civilizations, and Shapes Our World by Laurence C. Smith. So this book really appealed to me because it's talking about rivers in a bigger context. So how people build their lives around rivers and how they've influenced the development of humanity as a whole. So they're really, really impactful no matter where they are, no matter whether they're close to, not just the ones that I'm close to, but the ones all over the world that people rely on for their livelihoods, for life, literally, for water, for transport. Most cities are built near or around a river. And so I'm really interested in just getting more of that context and that wider picture of how rivers influence humanity. And so that is what I have on my TBR for November. I am not against putting another book on there if I seem to have some extra time and I get a lot of reading done, which would be great. But for now, that's where I'm going to cut it off. And I'm really excited to be participating in these 2 readathons. I really hope you will consider participating in Skoden. Reading Indigenous literature has been an extremely enriching part of my reading experience ever since I consciously made an effort to include it. And I would encourage everyone to do that because it really does give you an insight into how colonial ideas have influenced our mindsets so much that we really don't acknowledge the perspectives of other cultures. And it's really important to support Indigenous authors, especially right now. So please consider joining in. All the details for how you can do that will be down below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again soon with another video.